Hey guys, in this video I want to talk about sensitivity and aiming in Valorant. If you come from a CSGO background, you might already have a sensitivity. Personally, I come from a CSGO background. I was really high rank, I was global elite in CSGO, and I already had a sensitivity and therefore muscle memory that I was comfortable with. Once again, if you come from CSGO and you want the exact same 360 distance as Valorant, you gotta divide your CSGO sensitivity by 3.18 and that you get your Valorant sense. But Valorant uses a 103 horizontal FOV, whereas CSGO uses 90 on a 4-3 basis. So if you play on 4-3, your FOV is 90, and if you play native, your FOV is 106. So it's not the same FOV, and especially if you come from a 90 FOV background, transferring your sensitivity directly might not feel right for you. It might feel too slow, most likely. Also, for new people that don't have their sensitivity at all yet, this is to show you how you can find a sensitivity that you're comfortable with. But before we go into that, I want to explain a little things about DPI and the most used sensitivities in this kind of genre. So the most used DPIs are 400 and 800. You'll see a lot of CS pros use 400. That's what they're used to. That's what they started with years ago. I personally prefer 800, and it's also very common, because 400 might feel very slow on your desktop. I just prefer 800 overall. If you want to go higher, that's up to you. I would not go past 1600, however. I would also stay in whole numbers. Don't go like 553. Like, stick with whole numbers: 400, 800, 1200, 1600. But the higher you go, the harder it is to get a specific sensitivity, because you have to go further into the decimals to get the same sensitivity. So from all the pros with a CS background, or just anyone that's really popping off at Valorant right now, most of them sit between 0.3 and 0.5 in sensitivity. Obviously, you can go higher than this or lower. An example is Hiko. He plays at 0.7. He would play on 0.72 on 800 DPI. And Brax, he would play on 0.18, around that, on 800 DPI. So just like CS and other 5v5 shooters, there's a huge difference where you can go, but most people sit between 0.3 and 0.5 to give you a rough estimate of where you can try. So now to find your sensitivity. The thing that I really like to do in CS is find a point on the wall, for example this dot right here, and try to track it while moving left and right and seeing if it stays in my vision. As you can see, it's staying perfectly in my crosshairs right now. You can do this slow at first while holding shift. That's what I'm doing right now. But if you want to make it harder, you can run with your knife and hold shift, or you can just straight up run. As you can see, this is, for me, this is a comfortable sensitivity. If your sense is too slow for you, it might look like this. You can't really keep up and make it to the dot, and you constantly have to correct to get there. Whereas if you have a too fast sensitivity, you might constantly overshoot and it looks very jiggly like that. That way you can kind of tinker with it. I would recommend starting at 0.4 and working your way down. You can do it here by decreases of 0.1. You see it's going down by 0.1. And that way you can, here you can increase it. This increases it by a whole point. I wouldn't do that. That is a huge difference in this game. If you press F3, you can see the speed of the bots. If you press right here, you can also click on practice so that they spawn right here. This way you can also do what I did before and try to track their heads to see if your sensitivity is good for you. You can also try to just flick from one bot to the other. But when you click this off, you can also click on easy, medium, or hard right here. If you're very new to the game, I'd recommend starting on easy. So you can slowly move to the bot's head and then shoot. And when that gets too easy for you, you can put it on medium or even hard. right there, like hard mode is really hard. If you, the reaction time is super fast. And if you don't hit the first shot in the head, you're pretty much done. There's no time for correction. So this is a very good way to warm up for sure. But if you're new to any kind of FPS shooter, or even if you already played, but you're just not like a really high rank yet, don't even be bothered with hard mode. You gotta learn slow before you learn fast. Like, make sure you can get 30 every time on easy, which for some people might sound ridiculous. But really just slowly aim and go to their head. Try the flick, and if you miss a flick, go for a micro correction. For example, try it with a sheriff or a ghost and go on medium. You still have to react pretty fast, as you can see. But you can still line up and challenge yourself when easy is too easy for you. And that's basically it for those weapons. A little tip for the operator right here. If you're someone from a CSGO background that used to play with, you know, the 0.8133 sensitivity to get to like 1-on-1, then the scope sensitivity multiplier for you is 0.747. This is the same if you're like a Overwatch player that uses like what, 37.89 on Widow and 51.47 on Ashe. This is the scoped multiplier you want to use for that. For flicking with the op, there's not really a great practice range. Like out here, you can try practicing your flicks with an operator. But what I like to do is putting the speed on easy and lining it up at the middle and then trying to flick like that. So you can also do that if you want to, you know, practice your opping, your flicks and all that stuff. And that's pretty much it. Either way, I might make a video in the future on more aiming like routines, how you can get better at aiming and how you can practice better. But for now, this is it for this video. So if you want to see those, you can subscribe and like this video if it was useful. And thank you so much for watching. And see you in the next one.